All right, I'm Chad Harder here with Gene Johnson. After our post-observation, we're going through his individual career development plan that we went over together. Also some of the goals and just some different things that we would like to work on for next year. Gene went over some different things about student-led discussion, high-order thinking, help creating grading methods that are more standard-based, and just different things there. So, you know, met a little while ago talking about your post-observation and different things you want to do. You know, with the plan we put together here, what do you think your #1 goal is with this plan?
I was just trying to get kids to be more high order, trying to create opportunities for discussions where it was more student-led versus teacher-led. Kids could ask in-depth questions to other kids, and, you know, have that more in-depth dialogue going. That was the main goal going into the school year.
And on top of that, high-order thinking. I mean, so student-led and not just simple type things. You want high-order thinking with that?
Yeah, not just questions like who did what, but, you know, trying to get to a deeper level.
Okay.
So.
Why do you feel like this was a good plan for you professionally? I mean, what type of improvement are you looking for?
I think, you know, we're always trying to get, you know, to the next step up. You know, we're trying to get away from just rote memorization. We're trying to get kids to think. Trying to create more in-depth discussions versus just doing essays and projects, which I've done, I felt was the next step towards that.
Okay. And do you feel like this covers, like what you're going into, covers a lot of teaching standards?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it fits every concept that you have, and I haven't looked at the teaching standards for a couple of years, but I think it fits that.
Yeah, and when I went over and why I wanted to ask you at first what you thought, I went over the teaching standards, and I felt like with your plan, and you covered everyone, I thought the one that we could grow on was standard 6. Which every student engaged.
Right.
And why I thought that was good for you was because you wanted to get everybody involved. And it specifically says every student in that one. And that's, I know when we talked to your post-observation, that was something that you really wanted to work on it. But like in this plan, you know, with higher order thinking and student-led discussion, how does it match your style in the classroom? What would you say, how it matches you, what you like to do?
It matches it because, again, I'm always trying to do higher order things, project type of things where they have to write essays and stuff. It's difficult because I'm not the most patient person, so waiting for answers, waiting for things like that is always kind of tough. I just don't like to wait. And it's tough, too, because, you know, you have to take a step back if you're going to let it be student-led, and that's kind of tough, too, especially if, you know, you feel like it's going off topic or whatever. So it's not an easy thing from a management standpoint.
Okay. And based on the plan that we have here, what will you need to add to your daily lessons to get higher order thinking and standard-based grading? What are some things you're going to have to do?
I think you know, going into next year, I need to start with a little bit more basics. Try to introduce it a little bit more instead of just throwing it out there. Some of the strategies and things I saw were a little bit too complex, so I need to do a little bit better job of scaffolding towards it.
And I might be jumping ahead, but is this something that your AIW group can help with too, as far as like collaborating that?
I think AIW, that would be another thing that we could all start looking into next year, since we've all created a lot better lessons and stuff. It's kind of old news. It's just kind of the next evolution of our teaching is how do we get this part, this ungraded part, also high order.
Okay. What are you looking forward to most with this plan as far as next year?
You know, just continuing to build on it. You know, I tried it this year. I kind of went away from it, kind of towards the middle and towards the end of the year when you're trying to get some more lessons in, and you just kind of stop forgetting to look at strategies and things like that. So refocusing on it, scaffolding towards it are two things that I think will be more beneficial.
Okay, so you know the one thing we talked about and what you've touched on, and we talked about this post-observation today, thought, you know, getting all kids to think deeply and high order thinking, is this still a concern? And do you feel that how, I mean, do you feel you can bring these kids in? What are some things you think you can do to bring those lower kids in?
I'm still looking into that. You know, I mean, I try to ask them very basic questions, but that's not high order just to keep them involved and stuff. It's just, you know, I have a classroom of 20 kids, you know, if 15 of them are doing really good in-depth discussions, but 5 of them aren't. It's just, you know, even if I have an essay at the end or a reflection, to see that they've been paying attention, how do I get them to feel comfortable around their peers, around me, to be an active member of that discussion? I mean, what are the little things that you can do, whether it's drawing a name from a hat, assigning certain roles to them? It's just, you know, having these student-led discussions is a really tough thing to do. I mean,
Now, how do you feel, how will you know that you're getting through to these kids? I mean, what are some things that you're gonna be looking for that you know to get through to them?
it's gonna be more observational data. Like I said, I still have a lot of essays, just short reflections at the end of lessons and things that I can kind of read over and see that every kid is, you know, kind of on the same page. But, you know, you still want that active class participation. You don't want, you know, you don't want them to wait till the very end, write that essay, you know, not pay attention for 30 minutes, but they paid attention for 10 minutes and they got enough to answer the questions.
And you talked about data a little bit there. What's your main data that you're gonna look at as far as to get through to them? And I know some of that's discussion, that you're talking to them. But what are some, you know, you said essays and different things. Is there anything that you look at the most of all of them and say, this is what we're gonna do, or?
It's the reflections. You know, that's the easiest and quickest feedback for me. You know, it's not their biggest grade, but it's just something that I can look at, you know, quickly during my planning period. It doesn't take me long to read, but it gives me a sense of where those kids are and which kids are way behind, which kids are right where we need them to be. You know, their exit slips and things like that. But
you know, the goals you have in place, how does this match our district goals and student needs? I mean, so if we talk about those things, you know, I know one thing we talked about and put in here is just that AIW was one of the main district needs. Is that something, and again, AIW, is it something you think that's helping you to get better?
yeah, I think it has. It's helped me look at the type of questions that I ask, the type of lessons that I assign, making them more rigorous and relevant. You know, we're trying to make students lifelong learners. That's our biggest goal still. How do we do that? Well, we get them to think. You know, we try to make them think, because they're not going to go to a job interview someday and have to tell the interviewer how many days Gettysburg was and what happened there, but they will have to be able to think and analyze things in depth. So that's what we're trying to do.
And have you thought about timeline with this, as far as how much improvement do you want? Do you say each quarter? Are you saying, hey, I want, not necessarily based on your grades, but are you saying that you want to, how much improvement are you looking for each quarter or week or month? Or?
You know, that's a great question, because I've never seen a classroom like this, you know, where it is student-led and in-depth and stuff. So, I know next year, like I said, we're gonna start a little bit more basic and try to scaffold and work towards it, but I'm not 100% sure what it's gonna look like. You know, kind of like AIW, I wasn't 100% sure what it was gonna look like when we started it, but it has changed what my classroom looks like.
Right, and you've hit on a lot of what I have down here and different things about professional development being something that can help you and to and you know what my goal would be is, you know, I kind of like to look at some different classrooms that who are some people that are doing these things, or maybe finding some videos that could help you with that. And as we reflect, you know, what I'm hearing from you is that you want to bring high order thinking to your classroom, part of your daily routine, your partner group projects, and you feel that AIW can help you get there. And I think I think you have a really good plan in place, and I think it's something that students are really gonna like. I mean, for the most part, do students like your group projects and reflection?
I think most of them do. A lot of them get annoyed with it, you know, they just see it as more homework, more this or that, you know. There's always gonna be a handful of kids that would rather just, what are the facts I need to know, kind of regurgitate them and move on. you know, and then fill in the blank worksheets are much easier, you know. So there are a handful of kids that don't like it just because of the work it takes to do it.
Now, do you think this is something, I mean, not just this next year, but this is something professionally you want to just continue to do and continue to build on?
Yeah, I want to continue growing in this area, you know, continue trying to get the kids to be challenge them in the classroom, challenge them on what their basic thoughts are, because that's important. That's more important to me that the kids know than, you know, just those basic facts that they'll, you know, learn for the test and then forget.
Well, I heard you say a lot of really good things, and I know that this plan, I really feel is just ideal for what you do in your classroom, and I think this is something, you know, we're gonna have to check in next year, because I think, I'm excited to hear what improvements you made, and if all students are coming around, and so we'll check back in, but like I said, I think your plan is really good, and obviously your strengths are excellent, and we got you know, basically one growth area, trying to get everybody engaged and involved, but man, if we could come around with that, we're got a really nice plan, a really nice classroom place. So
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Gene.
Yep.